Now to Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz. Hi, Bernard.
Good morning.
Now, where do you want to cover off the Canterbury Finance? Or
Yes, Canterbury Finance is the story that will be dominating our headlines financially for the next couple of months. This is a developing story out of South Canterbury where Alan Hubbard is struggling to find the cash he needs to keep the credit ratings agencies happy. Standard & Poor's came out yesterday with a very severe warning of threats of multiple downgrades in South Canterbury's credit rating because it has what it calls liquidity issues. That's shorthand for it's running out of cash. This is a problem for South Canterbury and for the government because there's about $1.5 billion worth of mums and dads' money stuck in South Canterbury. South Canterbury is out there trying to raise money from shareholders. The
government guaranteeing this company?
Exactly. And this is why I think the government is likely to get involved to try and push South Canterbury into the arms of a bank or someone large. The trouble for South Canterbury is that going into the market is the same as a bunch of other people, ironically, from around that same South Island region. So we have South Canterbury looking for probably around 150 million. We have Pine Gould Corporation, which owns Marrick, looking for maybe a couple of 100 million. We've got PGG Wrightson, which is actually partly owned by both Pine Gould Corporation and South Canterbury, looking for possibly 150 million. And then we've got Fonterra out there asking farmers in that same sector for potentially up to 900 million. So we're looking at the rural sector trying to raise in equity around 1.2 to 1.3 billion inside the next 3 to 4 months. This is a problem for the banks, it's a problem for the economy, and it's a problem for many of those investors in both South Canterbury Finance and one to watch for Marrick. Because if South Canterbury loses its current double B credit rating and goes down to single B, which Standard & Poor's have threatened, then it will not be able to get the government guarantee. And this is
that a caveat, is it? That's been written
yes,
in?
Yes, you can't have a government guarantee unless you're double B or above.
But if they've been already granted the government guarantee, do they slip out of that zone when they are downgraded by Standard & Poor's?
Yes, but if you put your money in during the period of the current guarantee, then you're still guaranteed.
Yes.
So that's why it's still a problem for the government.
So it's like someone pulling the plug, basically. It'll slowly bleed to death.
Yes, and that's the issue for South Canterbury. They need to come up with a new prospectus in the next couple of weeks and a big chunk of money to bolster its balance sheet. Otherwise, it will suffer a fatal or near-fatal credit rating downgrade.
Migration statistics out last month?
Yes, well, this is interesting because it shows that net migration is rising, but it's not the way you'd think it is. A lot of people are not coming to New Zealand. There are more people coming, and there are more New Zealanders coming home. But the real reason net migration is up is because fewer people are leaving. That's because then it's not easy for them to get a job when they go to Australia in particular, and certainly not to the UK. So this is, in theory, boosting the level of demand for housing. Although I'm a little bit sceptical about that because we're not seeing the same number of cashed-up expats coming home that we saw in 2003 and 2004. Many of the migrants coming in are from the Philippines, India and China. They're here often as students and they're not here with big chunks of cash.
Okay.
So this will help the economy, but not as much as we might think.
Just very quickly, we've only got 30 seconds. Progressive Enterprises, what are they up to?
Well, this is actually Woolworths, the biggest Australian firm. Woolworths has decided to simplify in this market to get rid of the Woolworths brand, which is quite unusual, and Foodtown, and focus on Countdown. What this says is it's now an all-out war between Countdown on the one hand and Pack and Save on the other, and it says New Zealanders are cheap.
Bernard Hickey, thanks very much. Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz.